Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Blaze, and today I'm really excited to bring to you the ultimate Dooku guide. He dropped yesterday. I've been playing him a lot, and well, he's just fantastic in Galactic Assault and Heroes vs Villains. As for my gameplay, unfortunately, I have had some Wi-Fi issues, so my lag has been off the charts, so apologies if the background gameplay isn't up to its usual standard. So we're going to start off with Dooku's stats. He's got 750 health, which is average for a lightsaber user. He's got 250 health regen, also average, and his health regen speed is 5 seconds, which is on the slower side of things, but does balance out with the rest of his stats. His stamina is off the charts. Literally, this guy can swing, block, and deflect for days. And his lightsaber damage is equally ridiculous, with 130 damage to the front and 160 damage to the back, which is second only to Grievous in terms of DPS with a lightsaber. Then his first ability is Lightning Stun, which has a very small cone in front of him, in which all enemies that are hit are knocked out to the ground and take damage. The more enemies that there are, the less damage they take. Starting with 1, you have 160 damage to one infantry and 120 to each hero. Just to note with this ability is that you can actually one-shot 2 regular classes apart from heavy, so the damage reduction isn't that rapid actually. But the recharge time is in the middle at 15 seconds, which is reasonable for an ability, which is actually quite powerful once you get to use it a lot. Dooku's second or mid ability is Duelist. It has an active time of 10 seconds, during which Dooku deals 160 damage to the front, which will one-shot all the regular classes except for heavy. This one is amazing because you just run around one-shotting pretty much everyone on the battlefront, and then 220 to the back, which means you can one-shot heavies from the back, which is also amazing. And not only that, but the DPS overall is increased because he actually deals faster attacks and he puts one hand behind his back, which is a really cool animation touch from DICE. Dooku does perform a short animation when casting this ability, but that doesn't really matter that much, as usually you can get behind cover, especially with Dooku having 3 dashes at an increased recharge rate. Its recharge time for the Duelist ability is 12 seconds, which is actually pretty good, which basically means that Dooku is going to be spending about 45% of his time on the battlefront with Duelist up, which is incredible. Well, that's if you spam the ability anyway. And Dooku's third and last ability is Expose Weakness. With this ability, Dooku can choose a target within a short distance from him, and for 5 seconds, that target receives 20% extra damage from Dooku and his allies, which means that Dooku ends up dealing 156 damage to the front of that target, which means, guess what? He can one-shot all regular classes except from heavy, and 192 to the back, which is a shame, still can't one-shot a heavy, but it's still pretty good for melting heroes. This also means that his Lightning Stun gets buffed as well, because he will now be dealing 192 for one infantry with Lightning Stun and 144 for a hero. It's not a massive buff, but it's still noticeable. And the best part is that if you kill that target during the 5 seconds, the recharge of Exposed Weakness resets, and this is especially important, keeping in mind that the recharge time of Exposed Weakness as a whole is 20 seconds, which is really long. Now moving swiftly on to the combos section of the video, we've got a couple of combos. The first is a Lightning Stun and then just a Strike. This works really well, and you can actually strike Lightning Stun Strike, because whilst Dooku is striking, you can actually fit in a Lightning Stun in between, which will knock your opponent down and deal some pretty hefty damage as well, and it just works so quick, so fluidly. Great addition by DICE. The next combo is coupling Exposed Weakness and Duelist, so that you end up dealing 186 damage to the front and 252 to the back, and that just works by obviously using Duelist first since it has a longer active time, and then Exposed Weaknessing, let's say, a hero whilst you're behind them, just going up, slashing them in the back, and literally 3 hits, and someone like Rey is already down. It's ridiculous. And then you can actually pump that up even more with the kind of ultimate combo for Dooku, which is you Duelist, and then you Expose Weakness, before going in with 1 or 2 strikes, Lightning Stun, and then following up with another 1, 2, or 3 strikes. This will kill any character in the game. Unless, of course, it's, I don't know, Lando with a health card and Yoda overhealing him. Once again, we're going to move swiftly on, this time to the strategy section of the video, where I'm just going to cover the overall strategy you want to be using with Dooku in Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault. We're going to start off with Galactic Assault. In short, Dooku in Galactic Assault is a light skirmisher, which basically means that you want to be skirmishing around the side of the battlefront, occasionally popping into objectives and taking out a few people, but generally trying to stay on the brink of the battle as opposed to getting in there like Vader would, because realistically Dooku is slow, he doesn't have any escaping abilities, and he can actually get mowed down pretty easily by a large team, and basically everything in his kit is designed to take on whoever he likes as long as he's alone with that person, and especially given that he has those 3 dashes with the extra recharge, which means that he can just dash all over the place, moving around the battlefront with surprising speed considered his age. I recommend taking on no more than 3 enemies at a time with Dooku, and especially not 3 good enemies. In fact, you want to try and stay away from big fights as much as possible, and it is actually pretty similar in Heroes vs Villains, except that Dooku is actually more predominant in this mode, so you can get a bit more inside the battle, but just make sure that you aren't in line of sight to, let's say, Han or Lando, who will just light you up really easily. You need to play it a bit more strategically by trying to take out the blaster heroes first, and then move on to the saber heroes, and that way that you can move around the battlefront in Heroes vs Villains while still staying close to the targets. Now moving swiftly on a third time, this time to Dooku's star cards. We're going to start with the star cards for Galactic Assault. Now I definitely recommend Rising Power, which is his health on kill card, no brainer, as well as Sith Control, which is a max health regen card, again a no brainer, and then for his third card, which is debatable, I chose Last Seconds, which reduces the recharge time of Lightning Stun by 4 seconds at Epic, which is really important considered that Lightning Stun is basically an ability that gives you a free kill on any infantry apart from heavy, so that's also going to be really good in the star card department. However, viable alternatives are Dominance, which increases the damage for anyone with exposed weakness on, an anti-hero card, Masterful Duelist, which is again an anti-hero card, plus 20 damage when you have Duelist up, and then lastly we have Balanced Duelist, which decreases the recharge time for Duelist, which is really important in Galactic Assault. However, I would say these cards are more suited towards killing heroes, which isn't my thing, Galactic Assault, so I went for Last Seconds. As for Heroes vs Villains, I recommend keeping Sith Control, as that extra health regen is always helpful in both game modes. However, I would drop Rising Power and Last Seconds and switch those out for Dominance and Masterful Duelist, although Balanced Duelist can be substituted in for those last 2 as well. Okay guys, I think that's going to wrap up this video. Unfortunately, this video turned out longer than expected, but it's still a complete guide and I hope you enjoyed. Please like if you did, subscribe if you want more content like this, also check out my guides in the past, leave your feedback in the comments below, and bye.